Video Horror Society just got even better. The newest patch is out, and after a flurry of new patches, the game is in a much different state than when it was first released into early access. The newest monster is out, and I've never had this much fun with a monster before. The first thing you notice if you haven't played for some time is how the stigmas are now color-coded. This may seem minor, but it helps quickly identify which stigma is being used to kill the monster, and it helps new players have less things to actively look at. As we chase this Gloria, we see how the dev team has been looking to improve the overall monster experience, as the recovery speed after missing an attack was reduced by 10%, making it easier for me to land the following attack and not lose her altogether. Oh, and the scream shockwaves last 0.5 seconds longer to give you more time to reposition as teammates come in to protect their damaged teen and maybe even eliminate you. Extra time gives you enough time to rethink your plans and re-strategize without having to worry about getting blasted into smithereens. A ton of weapons have had balance changes too, with the flamethrower damage sticking around for less time, the ray gun getting improvements for players who have bad ping, and overall ammo and energy time for each weapon have been reduced and adjusted slightly to make them a little less powerful. A minor change that makes chasing targets easier after hitting a teen was the brightness and the size increase of the chromatic aberrations on the floor, or you can call them the scratch marks that survivors leave after they've been damaged. This increase in brightness makes it easier for you to be able to track targets after hitting them, especially for players like me, for example, who had trouble finding anyone after hitting them. If you were paying attention to the little counter on the bottom right of the screen, you'll see one of the most impactful new game mechanics added to the game: the plague counter. Plagues were items that affected the game that monsters could use. They had to get them from boxes and bring these items with them into the match before they even start the match, like offerings in Dead by Daylight. But now they can be worked towards and earned after hitting teens 8 times. So after getting to the max on this counter, you'll be able to press a button and it will open a rift to be able to receive a random plague to help you in your match. The plague counter begins once more after you consume one of your plagues, meaning that you can get multiple plagues in a match if you are dealing 16 hits technically. This big mechanic change makes plagues way more relevant and can help any monster that is struggling to get teens eliminated. Moving on to the new monster, Deathwire. Compared to other monsters in the game that are, well, more monster-like, I guess, Deathwire is a killer robot from the map the Eviscerator that is the newest map addition to the game. Deathwire excels at chase, as his ability to go into death drift makes him move 20% faster, with the drawback of course of not being able to use his voltage rise or his normal attack without first leaving his drift mode. This makes his chase music silent too, and teens will only be able to hear the whirring of his wheel as he approaches them. Once in his normal mode, or assault mode as it's called, he can charge up an electric shock that passes through any object at a mid-range, I would say, and shocks any survivors in its path, making them slower and also unable to do most interactions for the duration of the 2.6 second shock. This ability has multiple charges too, so you can use it for example to scout out areas or reveal nearby teams if you know their general location. His final ability, Beam Matrix, gives him Beam Matrix. His final ability, Beam Matrix, gives him some of the most useful information in the game, as it reveals the real-time exact locations of any teen caught in the path of the sensor beam. I wrote beam. In the path of the sensor beam. This exposes teens for 3 seconds and has no max range from what I can tell, meaning you'll be able to use this to spy if people are on distant crafting stations or if they're just behind a wall that's right next to you. Let's get into his perks, because his perks, Revolt, Demoralize, and Gutter Punch may become staple for monsters, as they permit monsters to increase the scream shockwave range with Revolt, jam teens for a brief period of time upon knocking them down or killing a teen with Demoralize, and in the case of Gutter Punch, make teens drop any pickup item upon injuring them, similar to Franklin's in DBD. If you are a team player though, be careful, as there is a new health status called Busted. This status only occurs after being hit 6 times. Busted causes you to be unhealable by most conventional methods, unless you are healed with the Sacred Staff, and this status will remain even after being resurrected by the Book of the Dead, adding a little bit more complication to playing teens and meaning that you're going to have to use holy stations a little bit more. Talking of the Book of the Dead, you found it before any team was even eliminated. Now you know where it is and you can quickly resurrect any fallen teammates. Nope. The box will now only spawn upon an elimination of a team. Teens will also notice that some stations have been moved on the maps, like we can see here as the burn station was moved to the back alley and hotel. Other team interactions and delays between interactions have been shortened to give you more time to escape an incoming monster, and monsters like Dollmaster have been slightly nerfed as his doll count can now be reduced just by stunning him. This gives you more of a chance against this map controlling monster. Beware the werewolf though, as her chase has gotten better as her ability activation delay has been shortened, but her base movement speed has been reduced to balance this. And we can't forget the new map, the Eviscerator, that came along with Deathwire, with its really cool design, amazing areas to kite, and a lot of lore that is based on an old movie called The Running Man with Arnold. All of these changes are amazing, but is the issue that put people off of the game originally still there? Matchmaking has had a multitude of changes behind the scenes and also more visible to us, as queue times have been massively reduced, with the developer team constantly improving the backend and also giving people more incentives to play Monster, with balance adjustments and the new flux bonus upon playing Monster. New players should be able to find matches faster, and monsters should have a less frustrating time, even a rewarding one, as the game moves on into the future. All of this VHS news reminds me a lot of the news I cover weekly for the game Identity V, that is yet another popular asymmetrical 1v4 horror game. Check the playlist here if you want to see what's new in that game as well.